Have you ever noticed yourself being powerfully drawn towards someone? Now, this might be in a romantic sense or even in a more platonic sense. It can happen in both scenarios. But have you ever felt you've been drawn to them and you're not exactly sure why? So I'm not talking about situations where you know for sure, okay, maybe I'm attracted to this person or whatever, but it's just kind of like, there's something about this person that draws me in, but I'm not exactly really clear on the exact reason. Well, I'm going to go over some reasons why this may happen and the implications from a spiritual perspective of this that's coming up next. So before we jump into it, my name is Dave and this is HeartSpace, where I am creating videos every single day to help you along your heart path. And that simply means helping you move into the fulfilled life, the life where you wake up every single day excited and in love with it. I'm helping you move from wherever you are now to that life, and I do that with my videos daily, my courses, my coaching, and everything else that I do. Now in this one, I want to give you 5 signs essentially, or 5 reasons why you're drawn to certain people. Some of these might apply to you, some of them may not. Again, use your discernment with these, but here are 5 things, 5 reasons why certain people may come along during your journey. So this is going to mainly be spiritual based stuff, but these are 5 of the reasons. And we're going in reverse order, starting with number 5. And the first reason, the number 5 reason in reverse order, is that they are here to reveal something about you to yourself. Ultimately, the physical world a lot of the time is a mirror for ourselves. Remember, the outer world follows the inner world, and that's also going to include other people. Now, you might be acting as the same thing for them, but it may be that they're there to reveal something about yourself to yourself. Now, they may not be aware of this on a conscious level, but again, it's kind of interesting how we're drawn to certain people that when we look back, we go, actually, it was kind of a lesson I learned there, or they revealed this thing to me. And we're going to get into more specifics throughout this video. But first and foremost, again, there are no happen chances, there are no coincidences in the universe. Even people that seem pretty toxic or for whatever other reason seem pretty negative do come into our lives to teach us things, to reveal certain things to us, again, which we will get into. But the first thing is to recognize that the outer world follows the inner, and that a lot of people are just mirrors to ourselves. They are showing ourselves to ourselves. They are revealing something about us to us. In fact, if you've ever had this happen in your life, I would love to hear about it in the comments. I'm sure it will help other people as well, about you recognizing this happening, and you can even describe a little bit of what happened if you would like as well. Anyway, let's move on to number 4. Now, number 4 is that they have something that you desired, something that you want, something that you're drawn to. Now, I don't mean this in an egotistical kind of sense, like, oh, they have a lot of money, so, the person wants to cling on to them for their money or for their looks. Again, we're raising ourselves to a benevolent place here, and so this is all coming from a spiritual perspective, and we're going to assume everything is at a benevolence, a level above 200 on the consciousness scale, if you know what that means. But there's something about them, something that they have, a personality trait, maybe something they've grown in that you're just drawn to. And the reason for that is probably because you desire it, and your soul is drawing you towards this person, almost to observe them, almost to see the potential of this thing in actuality, in physical reality. Because remember, at the end of the day, we are all one. And so you're going to be drawn to things that you would like to individuate as an individual spiritual being in a human body that is connected to oneness. You are literally being shown another individuation of divinity that has an expression that they are expressing here with, everything they could be expressing, they are expressing that one thing, and you are drawn to it because you want that thing too. There is something within you that wants to experience that as well. So maybe it might be someone you're drawn to is super confident and you're not that confident and you really want to be confident. So you're drawn to this person because in a way you almost want it to rub off on you. You want to learn from them, right? This is why we're drawn to certain teachers. This is why we're drawn to certain people. Maybe, for example, if you want to work out and gain a lot of muscle, you're drawn to someone who's very muscular because you want to be like, I want to experience that as well. And so they're revealing to you something that you actually want, and they're revealing it through themselves, through actually who they are or how they're showing up. Again, in this case, it is a mirror for what it is you wish to desire or you wish to experience. And you'll find people coming through in this way all the time. For example, I used to be very lacking in confidence. And every now and then there would be someone that would come into my life, either not always necessarily as a great friendship, but like just a kind of random person would come into my reality stream, because I wasn't in a place where I could be friends with people at that level yet, because I wasn't resonating at that level. But they would come into my life every now and then and interact with me. And I would always remember coming away from those interactions like, wow, I want to be more like that. And it would stick in my mind because they were showing me that which I could become and something that I knew I desired to become. And that went a long way to encouraging me and inviting me to actually work on my own confidence. That's why I used that example, because that was something I did desire. And again, they came into my reality to essentially show me that. So if that's happening, especially quite consistently, it could be they're just showing something that you deep down desire, that your soul wishes to experience as this physical being or the spiritual being in a physical body. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far or it's resonating with you, hit that like button and we're gonna move on to number 3. Number 3 is because this person you intuitively know can help you take strides down your heart path or your soul's path. Now, the most common kind of appearance of this is a teacher-student scenario, right? So you're drawn to this person because you know they have wisdom or experience that can really help you along your path. And typically teachers or beings or anyone really at a certain level of consciousness typically will want to serve by giving back and helping others to a certain level of consciousness. So it might be someone you interact with personally. It could be someone you watch. You could be doing that with me. You could be doing that with other teachers on YouTube. You could be doing that even watching people you will never meet in person, but you're drawn to their teachings because there's an intuitive knowing that through this wisdom, through these teachings of whoever it is you're watching or want to learn from, is going to really help you along your path. And you get that intuitive pull towards them for that. I'll give you an example. Even when I was first coming through with spiritual teachings, or I was first learning about spirituality and really my soul and things like that, I was really drawn to Alan Watts. And obviously I'm never going to meet Alan Watts in the flesh because he passed away before I was born. But I was really drawn to his teachings, and his teachings have been a huge catalyst in my spiritual growth. In fact, I still listen to his talks every single day. And I was drawn to him, and he would probably be the one person, if it's like, oh, if you can meet someone dead or alive, who would you meet? I would choose Alan Watts. And why is that? I was drawn to his teachings. I was drawn to the wisdom and experience he shared because my soul intuitively knew some of the things that he was teaching were going to help me down my own path. And they have in very significant ways. There are also people who are still alive who I do this with. For example, I've mentioned Kyle Cease on this channel. He was another huge catalyst. I probably discovered him around the same time. And I've actually met him in person, funnily enough. Amazing person, but a huge catalyst for my own growth, which is why I was drawn towards him. And his teachings and what I've learned from him have gone a long way to me being able to be in my heart to even do this right now. And so that might be another reason you're drawn to someone, because you intuitively know that they are going to play a big part in helping you along your heart path. Now, number 2 is going on the opposite end of the spectrum, and they provide contrast. You see, we live a dualistic experience here on earth. We are a spiritual being, yes, connected to oneness, but we're in a physical world which acts upon or works with duality, meaning there cannot be one without the other. And the reason both of these exist is because we can experience anything, and we need to know what the other is in order to choose what we want to choose. For example, we can't know up without down, left without right. And so we can't know one experience without knowing its opposite. And so it might be certain people are coming in just to provide you with contrast of how you do not want to be or what you do not want in your life. For example, you may have someone in your life who's always moaning and complaining and super negative, and you see all these so-called terrible things happen to them and they victimize themselves, and you look at that and go, I do not want that experience. Well, you're not to know if you're going to want or not want that experience unless you have some kind of example of it. Now, again, that person's on their own journey. Maybe they'll decide to get out of that, but there's always going to be an example of almost every little thing, everything you could experience. And so they are providing contrast. I've had this happen in my life multiple times where I've seen people and I've gone, I really don't want to live in that way. And it's good that they provided examples in that way. One of the things my mentor says is you can be one of two things for people. You can either be the invitation or the warning, but both exist. And so sometimes you will have the warning come in order to almost give you a warning or show you what it looks like to be a certain way. And so they are providing you contrast. Now, you may not necessarily be drawn to this type of person, but sometimes if you really need to learn and really understand what this looks like, you might be. And you might find yourself in a situation you don't want to be in, but it's really to provide you that contrast. I had this when I was with roommates, not all of them I was with, but in my early 20s, I was drawn to having roommates and being in a certain situation, and I had all different types of roommates, and I saw pretty clearly some of the things I certainly did not want to be, and it helped me to make a decision to get out of there and really remember those things and not want them to become a part of my life. Those things that other people were displaying that I was like, that's not what I want my reality to be. They were providing contrast. A lot of times this also can come in the form of the universe kind of slapping you around until you get the message. This is why a lot of people in relationships will go back to the same kind of person time and time again. And it doesn't just have to be relationships that are romantic, but you see this in romantic relationships all the time. Like someone continually gets in relationships with a narcissist time after time and time again. If you've been watching this from the outside, you might be like, why do you keep doing this? And the simple answer is they haven't gotten it yet. This person is supposed to be providing contrast for them, but they haven't gotten the message. They haven't learned the lesson yet. They haven't probably realized that they have more control over reality than they've been led to believe, or that they are a divine, infinite, co-creative being. In fact, you wouldn't tolerate that if you understood that, right? But that's why that is occurring. It is really, the universe will get louder and louder and louder until you get the message, until you understand the contrast. I had this happen with me too. I would have, not in a romantic sense, but I had a lot of different narcissists appear in my life, and there was always, for like so many years of my life, always at least one in my life in some form, because the universe was trying to show me contrast and also trying to teach me a lesson in setting boundaries. And so I remember there was a thing when it was either someone I was a friend with, or it was someone I would work with. And I remember specifically, I switched jobs, and like clockwork, another person who was exactly the same as this person who was giving me a hard time at my other job, the exact same person, just packaged differently, so in a different form, was at this new job, just ready to pick up where this person left off. Why? Because I was allowing that to happen, and the universe was trying to show me, you need to set boundaries, starve this energy out, because right now you are inviting it in. And so they served as an amazing lesson. And when I got this lesson, guess what? I haven't had a person like that in my life in years, and I never will, because I don't tolerate that kind of energy. So that kind of thing can happen as well. It gave me contrast. I don't want this in my reality, and so I took a stand and said, no more. I'm not going to entertain that kind of energy in my life. And number one, we're not going to go too deep into, but you can explore this a little more if you want, but your souls made the decision to come together in some way before you were born physically. Now, this is where we can look at soulmates and certain things of that nature, maybe people who your souls have interacted in different lifetimes. In fact, a lot of what we've gone over on this list, there is a theory that your souls will have interacted before you came into this physical existence and said, hey, I want to experience this, I will help you experience this. So like the soul of the narcissist coming to your soul being like, hey, I want to experience this, so that I can learn this, or whatever else it is. Like that can happen, but I'm talking more maybe on the soulmate level, on the level of just like continually re-experiencing someone lifetime after lifetime. I feel like this is something that's been going on with my partner. We just get this intuitive sense that this isn't the first lifetime that we've come together in some way. So that is something that can also happen. And when you're connected at that energetic soul level, of course you're going to be drawn to that person, and maybe not know the logical reason in this lifetime, right? So that's another thing you can explore. We could get deeper into that, but I think this video is already like 14 minutes long, so we will not. But if that's something you suspect might be happening to you because maybe the other things don't resonate, or you're not experiencing that with a certain person, that is a possibility. It could be there are soulmates, your souls decided to come together in this physical experience this time around before you were born, so that's something to explore as well. Ultimately, just remember, one of the biggest things I think I talk about on this channel is the outer world follows the inner, and life is a mirror, and it will be reflected also through the people you interact with. Now, if you want to find out some of the signs that you're actually shifting realities, I would go watch this video next, because you will start to then attract different people, different lessons will come in, a lot of cool things are going to happen. So go check that out next if that resonates with you.